Standardized tests.
Standardized tests.
Standardized tests.
Standardized tests.
Standardized tests.
Standardized testing has shown to have a positive effect on classroom teachers. In fact,
I believe that the tests are wrong. I believe that they're hurting children. I believe that they're hurting children, not just my children, but they're hurting children across this country.
According to the glossary of educationreform.com, a standardized test is any form of test that one requires all test takers to answer the same questions or a selection of questions from a common bank of questions in the same way, and that two is scored in a standard or consistent manner, which makes it possible to compare the relative performance of individual students or groups of students, which is a very controversial topic.
Hi, I'm a teacher at Foreign. I've been here for 4 years. Prior to that, I taught at Trumbull High for 3 years, and prior to that, I taught in the Gifted and Talented program in Stratford at Worcester Middle School.
So you see a lot of standardized tests as a teacher, obviously, and how do you think standardized testing makes your students feel?
Stressed, very stressed.
What's your general opinion of standardized tests?
My general opinion is that I think they can be informative, but they're not always used in an informative fashion.
Do you think that standardized testing truly reflects your students' intelligence?
No, not at all.
Do you feel that standardized testing decreases the freedom of teachers in the classroom?
Sometimes, because we're so, particularly in AP courses, we're so driven by that test that we don't necessarily have the time to kind of linger over more interesting topics. We just don't have that time. We don't have the luxury of time. So a lot of what we're doing is pushing through the content as fast as possible to leave time for review.
How many standardized tests do you see your students take a year, about?
It depends how many APs they take. Obviously, every student here is taking either the PSAT and then the SAT, but depending on the number of APs they're taking or ACT, they're taking at a minimum one, and probably more than that because we have such a strong AP school.
Do you think that the results of standardized testing should affect the funding of schools?
No, not at all. I don't think every student demonstrates their knowledge, their content mastery in the same way. Students have different strengths and weaknesses, just like adults have different strengths and weaknesses.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Can you state your name and your job?
Name, Todd Michael Williams. I'm an educator of young people here at Foreign High School.
Awesome. How do you think standardized testings make your students feel?
Pressure, anxiety. At the same time, some could see it as being competitive and excitable.
Nice. What's your opinion of standardized testing?
Too much is too bad, and too little might be, let people fall through the cracks.
Do you think standardized testing truly reflects your students' intelligence?
No, absolutely not.
Do you feel that standardized testing decreases the freedom of teachers in their classroom?
I think it restricts, because obviously you want to teach the test so the school's successful, so the district's successful, so that you get the money and the funding and all that good stuff. But, I'll leave that to the politicians.
Do you think that the results of standardized testing should affect funding of schools?
Should not. Should not.
All right, thank you.
You're in.
I'm a freshman.
How does standardized testing make you feel?
Makes me feel stressed out, but I think it helps out with school.
What's your opinion on standardized tests?
I think they're good for learning, and they show how much you know and what you don't know.
Do you think it truly reflects your intelligence?
Yeah, because it's most of the questions everyone gets, so if you get it right, then you know.
Do you feel that standardized testing decreases the freedom of teachers in their classroom?
No, because,
How many standardized tests on average do you take in a year?
probably like 5 to 10.
Do you think the results of standardized testing should affect the funding of schools?
No, because not everybody tries them.
If a school did really, really well, do you think they should get more funding or less funding?
Just get equal funding, because everyone's equal.
Do you feel obligated to take standardized tests?
Yes.
And do you feel prepared when you take them?
So, as president of the Connecticut Parents Union, what is your feeling on the focus of standardized tests in schools over the recent years?
So when I think about standardized tests, I think about the history of standardized tests when it was first introduced under No Child Left Behind. So the majority of the people that the Connecticut Parents Union serve, we serve all parents, but the majority of them are low-income parents of color. And so when standardized tests were first introduced, it was to make sure children of color didn't fall through the gap in education. So we have mixed feelings in the Connecticut Parents Union. We're kind of split. I don't believe in extreme testing. I believe that testing should be a small percentage of what occurs. I do believe in testing to measure, but I do believe that it's a part of a bigger picture, just a way to measure how children are doing in the classroom. So for us, our group is kind of mixed. There are some who totally oppose testing because they believe that it's extreme. They believe that teachers are teaching to the test. But I believe that a great teacher can still teach and then still implement a test without it being super heavy. I hope I answered the question.
Oh yeah, you did. Thank you. So as an advocate for like the educational rights of children, do you think that standardized tests limit or breach a student's educational rights?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, please?
So when I was reading up about you on the website, it said that you were an advocate for educational rights of children. Do you feel that the standardized tests limit those rights or impede upon them?
Well, I don't think they limit the rights. The only way I think they would limit if they're actually, focusing solely on testing without, looking at the whole child and, not teaching other subjects and not creating a positive learning environment. So it depends on how the test is administered. I don't think it overall, if it's a balanced test and if it's a balanced educational environment, I don't think it impedes the rights of children.
With all the varying opinions on the benefits of standardized tests between teachers, politicians, and those most greatly impacted, students, the question still remains. Do the cons outweigh the pros or vice versa? This has been Hope Burrows on Standardized Tests.